on in. Ah, I'm so excited. I'm trying to calm down. I'm so excited. I'm just trying to get everything set up and ready for us. This is going to be so much fun. I'm so glad that so many of you are joining us live. If you're here, come say hi. Come say hi in the chat box over here. Hi. You guys are the best. I'm so excited for today for multiple reasons. One, just to be back in the kitchen and cooking things that are I get so excited when it's summer food and there's things like tomatoes and basil and just so much produce and so much fresh food that tastes amazing that you just don't have to do so much to it to make it taste good. It's one of my favorite seasons and one of my favorite times of year to be cooking. Yeah. Hi, you guys. Come on in. Oh, I'm so glad. So today is going to be another fun, easy cooking class centered around summer cooking and a few easy hacks for you at home this season to kind of help start to save you some time, be a little bit more efficient when you are cooking. As you know, for those of you guys who have followed me for any amount of time, I'm all about eating real food because I think it's the healthiest for us. It's the way to nourish ourselves the most. But it's also the thing that when we do just this simple act of eating and keeping it nourishing and nutrient dense and real food, that provides so much to our bodies that it enables us to just a little bit of time and intention around what you're putting in your body, making sure that it's real food. And I think keeping it simple will help you want to do this more. Just a little bit of that time and intention can help have this ripple effect on your life that is so big. And what it does is just start to give you so much better energy, such better digestion. Eating real food helps stabilize your blood sugar, which helps stabilize your mood so that you can move through each day feeling calm and peaceful and present and grounded. Yeah, you guys are yeah, those are all the things that we want. And I think a lot of people overlook this very simple thing of what we're eating every single day. All of us want better energy, better mood, better digestion, feeling like we have more of that sense of peace and calm within us that we're carrying around through the day. We have more energy and vibrance to pour out when we start with the simple act of what we are putting in our bodies. And because we do that multiple times a day, and because I'm a fan of efficiency, this is the most efficient way to make sure that you are feeling good so that you can go out into your life and serve the world and your family and feel the best that you possibly can feel. I think that it all starts in the kitchen. And if we can find ways to keep that process more simple and easy, using stuff that's on sale, using the things that you already have in your fridge, it just takes off a lot of the pressure and a lot of this mentality around food that we're taught that it has to be this very all or nothing thing. And so even with something like cooking, the way we're taught as society in our culture is that it has to be complicated. It has to be hard. You have to use a million different ingredients. You have to have a lot of time. You have to do it perfectly, all of which are just lies, complete lies, I think, because I think there's a way to do it where you can get all of the benefit of eating real food that's pure and simple that you can find in any grocery store, paired with the fact that if it's real food, you don't have to do much to it. So that definitely helps. But so that we can do this process and just make it easier on ourselves. I think it can be quick and easy. I think it can be fun. I think it can be something that you can do on a busy weeknight when you have so much else going on. I know that I have shared this with you before, but I do what I do, not because I am so passionate about the act of cooking itself, but because of the way that when I cook and eat real food and do that, for the most part, most of the days of the week where I have stuff around, that's what enables me to go out into my life and go out into the world and be the best possible version of myself. And so any ways that I can help share that and share that process with you, that's my hope for you too. You don't have to love cooking. You don't have to spend tons of time doing it. If you do, that's great too. But you don't need to do that in order to get all of these benefits and in order to up-level your life in every way. So today we're going to get right to it because I know you guys will have questions. Yes, welcome. And if you have questions, I'm going to do my best to monitor and to say hi and to answer questions that I see, but I won't be able to see the chat box all the time. But we have my team on as well, and they can kind of help answer any things that you might see that are coming in and coming up. So yes, if you're just joining, come say hi, maybe where you're listening from today. I love just knowing and seeing who's here. It's so good to see so many familiar names. It's amazing. So today's topic is we are going to start thinking of cooking as this quick act of self-care that's very approachable and very doable, because that's truly what it is and why it matters. Today, we're going to do 3 recipes using 3 different ingredients. So 3 different ways. We're using the same 3 ingredients in 3 different recipes so that this gives you a lot of ideas to do with some very common summer foods that are in season for most people. And the 3 ingredients are, does anybody have a guess? I guess that's not very, you can see it. Yep, someone said tomatoes, basil. Yep, someone says bread. Okay, ingredients are tomato, basil, and then mozzarella cheese. And if you can eat cheese, because I know a lot of you in this community are also dairy-free, I have some great ideas and swaps for you. If you can't do mozzarella, think about your 3rd ingredient as zucchini, okay? Because zucchini is a great one that can fit into almost all of these today. Okay, you guys ready to go? Yes. All right, so these are the things to make when you don't know how to make or what to do. So the first, we're doing 3 recipes today. The first is going to be a stuffed zucchini recipe, which again, I'm going to walk you through what that looks like, how you can modify it for your own tastes and preferences and needs, because I do think that's important. Everybody does well. Everybody's body is just a little different, and knowing what works for you is really important. So we're going to do a stuffed zucchini. We're going to do some zucchini and egg muffins. So these are a great make ahead breakfast idea that you can also use a lot of the things that you probably already have around, and it's quick and it's easy, and you make them ahead and you can keep them in the fridge. You can also store them in the freezer for later. And again, customize them to your taste and preferences that we will talk about. And then the 3rd dish is a tomato panzanella bread salad. So it's so good. I feel like I've eaten it probably at least 3 days this week. And it's just like fresh, and the flavors are so good. It's something that you can assemble a little bit ahead of time. So earlier in the afternoon, if you are going to be outside, hopefully relaxing and enjoying your time instead of slaving away in the kitchen, that's what these are all about. So these are all some pretty good, like make ahead, assemble ahead, maybe put a garnish on last and bring it out so that you can actually get back to your life. I think that's the whole point of eating good food, is that it enhances your life and is not something that stresses you out. Okay. All right, cool. So I'm going to click away here. Please come, yes, continue to chat, and you can talk amongst yourselves. If you have questions, again, we'll try to answer. So let's just go through. We're going to start with the stuffed zucchini, because that's the recipe that actually we have to get in the oven, at least as we're doing this together. So you're going to take zucchini. So the way that this recipe is written, I'm going to basically half the recipe because I don't need to make this big portion. But normally when you are making this is a great one to make extra for, because it actually is something that you can they're really quick, easy reheats for the week, or you could even throw it on the grill this time of year. And you can also customize them so they're a little bit different. Like each little zucchini, I call them zucchini boats sometimes, but stuffed zucchini. This also is a great one if you have picky eaters or if you have kids. I'm cutting the zucchini in half here, and I'm just taking a spoon and scooping out the middle. So this is a really great, just fun idea. And the fillings, today we're going to do, you could do like a chicken sausage, a turkey sausage. You can do, if you have any leftover ground meat. So whether that's taco meat, you could do, or seasoned in the style of taco meat, usually ground turkey, ground beef. Today I'm using leftover meatballs because that's what we have. So just the turkey meatballs that are in the cooking club and in the first cookbook as well, or something similar to it. So I made a batch of meatballs this week for the baby because she's starting to, eat more real food, and just left them pretty unseasoned. But then added them into tomato sauce for my son and for me and for my husband. So I'm all about that being the most efficient that you can. So we have our zucchini here. So that's 3 zucchini. Again, I would recommend doing 6 if you're going to do it, and you can fill up an entire tray. So we are just going to bring this over here. Yes, and you can ask, yes. So yeah, you can totally do this with summer squash too. Somebody was asking that question, I can see. You can do this with summer squash. This is a great idea in the winter too with like delicata squash. And also you can get a little buy-in from people if like, people can even like assemble and or make their own. So as soon as we have those seeds scooped out, my little compost down here, all we're gonna do is just add a little sea salt and pepper on here. And oh yeah, somebody did ask a question like the recipes, can we see the recipes or like know what we're cooking here? So yes, that's why we had you guys sign up so that we have a way to contact you and send these recipes your way, so you have the exact proportions and everything that we're doing, so that you can even follow along. So those will be sent out after class today, and you'll be able to have those, just print them out, whether you want to make all of these together like I'm doing today, or if you want to space them out in a different way. So I'm actually going to turn these over right here, and I have the oven on at 425. And we are just going to roast them. So I just did a little bit of sea salt, a little bit of pepper. We're going to pop them right in the oven. And put the timer on for about 20 minutes at 425. Okay, so we're going to come back to that. Let's go through the second recipe, because this is also something that we want to kind of have a little bit of prep time and a little bit of cook time in the oven. So we're going to come back to the stuffed zucchini. It's very simple. Once the zucchini are roasted, we're basically going to stuff it with our delicious ingredients of tomatoes and basil. We're going to do a little mozzarella, some spices, and put them back in the oven to kind of broil, and then they'll be done. But next, let's get our zucchini and egg muffins going. So let me grab the eggs from the fridge. I actually forgot to grab those. Wanted to keep them cold, really just forgot. So, checking the fridge. We have a fridge that like beeps when it's left open. Just got to make sure. So I would always suggest, I can see some like what kind of eggs are you using? I would always suggest, if you can, getting pasture raised organic eggs if you can. They are a little bit more expensive, but it's definitely worth it, especially for things. I think anything that comes from an animal, truly. So cheeses, milk, any milk products, any dairy products, any eggs. I mean, you can absolutely tell too, even look at the color of this yolk. It should be the brightest, like bright orange, means that it's like the most full of choline and all of these amazing nutrients, because eggs are actually just a great healthy food if you can have them. Okay, these are great for kids. So what we're doing first, I'm just cracking eggs. The original recipe has it written so you're making 12 egg muffins at once. I'm going to do a half batch just so you can see. And so for a half batch, you'll need 5 eggs. I'm putting that in here. And then we're just going to quickly whisk the eggs. I like using a like a Pyrex mixing cup. What do we call this? A dish? A cup? Because then it has the easy pour spout. So every time we do eggs, I just think it's easier. I also do pancake batter like this. Yeah, someone says, yeah, and you can also use one of those electric whiskers. Those work great, especially for baked goods. You can do it quickly in the blender too. So a lot of different options here. So we have our egg base. We are going to throw in some green onion because we have it. We're using it for a different ingredient. And I wanted to demonstrate and show the recipe calls for just a regular onion. You can also, like, this is about learning to use what you have. So if you have a red onion, that's great. If you have green onions, are actually a great swap. I prefer green onions. I feel like they are just more multifunctional, and you can use them in a bunch of different ways. So when you get a bunch at the store, the white parts, the white bottom parts, taste a little bit more like a traditional onion. And the top, I'm just trimming off the ends here, but these top green parts are so much more mild tasting. And I actually prefer that instead of a strong onion taste. So yes, You can also leave out the onion too. I know some people, maybe if you have picky kids and they don't like a ton of like herbs, you can do that. So I'm just putting in 1 green onion because that's what we have. So the green onion, yellow onion, red onion, oftentimes, and shallots, they're oftentimes all interchangeable. So it's a quick little easy hack when you do, especially for summer foods. Okay, now with our ingredient, right, the zucchini, you are just going to take a simple box grater. Move these knives. And you're just going to grate down the side here. So zucchini is one of the best, most versatile foods that you can cook with because it has so many different forms and shapes that it can take. Like one of the best things to think about in the summer, especially with no cook meals, is that like slicing something thin versus cubing it versus chopping it versus shredding it with all these like great summer veggies that we have coming into season. It can you can do so much with the same types of produce. So zucchini goes and grows crazy in the summer. And so a lot of times people have leftover stuff. So grated zucchini is one of the easiest ways to get some extra vegetables in your life, which couldn't we all use a little bit more of that? So this is a great thing even like to do in scrambled eggs. Obviously, most of you have probably made like a zucchini bread before. Zucchini does have a lot of water, so I'm going to take this to the sink and squeeze it out because otherwise everything becomes a little watery. And we don't want a whole lot of extra water because this is being baked. All right. So as much as you can squeeze out, and it will kind of reduce this volume here. If you don't have zucchini, it's also a very mild vegetable. So it pretty much tastes like whatever spices you have, and some basic salt and pepper is like oftentimes all it needs. So speaking of which, we'll add our salt and pepper. So about 1/4 teaspoon of sea salt, about 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. Then you can feel free to adjust that based on your own needs. I'm just making sure I'm not missing the recipe. It's funny when I'm normally cooking, I don't really ever look at the recipes. I'm like, I got this. But when I'm talking at the same time, I got to check it. Who knows what I could put it in here, truly. Yeah, so somebody was asking, could you put other things in there too? Yeah, absolutely. So this is actually a great place for anything that's leftover. If you have any leftover roasted veggies or grilled veggies from the grill, it's great with even like frozen broccoli that's cooked. You know, my mind is like feeding kids and toddlers. So if you have any extra broccoli, it's a great way to get some extra broccoli in. We want to do a little bit of, I'm going to do a little bit of just garlic powder in here. That's a little extra. And then we want to add our star ingredient of fresh basil. So this is also a recipe that is tastes awesome with whatever herbs you might have in the garden. So you could do mint, you could do parsley. I feel like basil is one of the most versatile ones because it's sweeter. So most people really love basil because of that, and it goes very well in a lot of different dishes because it doesn't have a very strong or bitter profile like something like parsley might or chives. So we're just going to chop that basil up quickly, throw it in. Again, do you guys see how you can kind of customize this based on whatever you want? As long as you have the right proportions, that's kind of all you need. And then using another one of our star ingredients is just a little bit of mozzarella cheese. And again, this is totally optional. If you cannot eat cheese, then just leave it out. The recipe works beautifully without it. You don't need it. But again, if you happen to have it, let's say you're buying it because you have them for these other recipes that you're going to make, this is a great way to just incorporate it, use it up. It always brings a little extra flavor. This also is an example of like you can use cheese in a lot of different forms. So whether it's the bigger piece of mozzarella, you can do fresh grated Parmesan if you happen to have that instead. It can be you can use goat cheese, and that will kind of blend in and make it a little bit more creamy and cohesive together. So we're gonna mix these up. Yeah, you guys are like, yeah, I love this. This is such a great and quick and easy breakfast idea. And it's one of those easy things. Like if you have 20 minutes, you can make it, assemble it, cook it, pop it in the oven, and then you're kind of like done for the week. It checks off the boxes of getting you a lot more just good, healthy protein, like food that's actually going to fill you up and nourish you so that you can go on with your day and get back to the things you love versus spending like all of your time and energy thinking about, okay, I'm hungry again. Now I need to go grab a snack. Now I need to do this. I'm just a fan of efficiency in general. So like if I'm going to eat, it's one of the reasons why I eat real food is that it serves the purpose and very quickly of filling me up, filling my cells, nourishing me, grounding me. And then I can just get on with my day. I don't have to stop an hour later to then snack, to then eat. Okay, so here are our egg muffins. We're going to put this in the oven next to our zucchini. I'm going to set another timer here. So because the oven is on 425 and this is this recipe usually cooks at about 400 degrees, I'm just going to reduce the cooking time by about 4 minutes. So, by about 5 minutes. So we're going to do 425 for about 15 minutes, and then we're going to check on them. So again, like having that flexibility of like, oh no, the oven says 425, but it needs to be 400. Oftentimes it doesn't matter. It just means higher heat. So your cooking time, it'll probably be done a little bit sooner. Okay. Does that make sense? Okay, good. You're loving this. Yeah, these are like truly some of my favorite easy go-to recipes, again, that are going to do the purpose of filling you up without weighing you down, without taking tons of energy and time, and just like all of the things that we don't have enough of this day and age, especially if you're busy. Okay, let's move on. So we're still waiting for the zucchini to cook and our timer to go off on that. And next up, we are going to start the tomato panzanella salad. So I know what I was going to do. I remembered. I probably should have done this before the egg, but it's okay. We're going to start this tomato panzanella salad. So the first step is bread. And this is a great way to use up any bread. I happen to be gluten-free. We all are in this house for different reasons. I used to have a thyroid disorder that going gluten-free completely healed it. And so I've been gluten-free for like 10 years. So this is gluten-free bread, but use whatever you have. Baguette bread, like the bakery style bread where somebody's making it from scratch, or like a sourdough loaf would be so good here. That's actually one of the healthiest real food versions of bread. If you can do gluten, doing like Dave's Killer Bread or sprouted grain bread, like Ezekiel is actually one of the best ones if you're not gluten-free. You just want as clean and simple ingredients as possible. So looking at your labels and making sure you can recognize the most of the ingredients. Gluten-free bread can be a little bit tricky sometimes. Someone said, what brand are you using? This is Happy Camper bread. It's what I use for Noah's lunches at school because the school is nut-free and it's also a nut-free and gluten-free bread. So that's what we have. It's not like 100% perfect, but doing the best you can to try and avoid like a lot of gums and stabilizers, like, because all those gums do are they start to gum up your gut. That's what gums do. They bind things together. And I don't know about you, but having things bound in your gut and stuck there is not pleasant and creates a lot of bloating and just, gastrointestinal issues. I should know because I used to have a lot of them. So just do a double check. A lot of times there's a huge difference between actual like healthy food, which I consider real food, which is just simple, normal, natural, like 1, 2, 3 ingredients that you recognize, versus processed health food, which is the stuff that we get marketed to as being healthy. When the reality is, when you look at the actual ingredients, because any food can say whatever they want on the front of a label, it's kind of disturbing. But on the back of the label by law, you're required to disclose what's actually in the food. And if it's stuff that you can't pronounce and recognize, or the ingredient list is like a mile long, chances are it's probably closer to being a health food than real food. So I always just like to do a double and triple check if you order your groceries online, like I tend to do. Again, all about saving as much time as possible so you can have more energy into your life. That's what I tend to do. You can always look on whatever platform you're shopping, whether it's Instacart or something like it. They will always list the ingredients on each product that they have. So that's a helpful thing to know sometimes. I'm going to readjust something in here. Okay. Any questions, you guys? I'll take a pause and kind of look at questions as they come in. Okay, so we are going to get these in. So this is the toasted bread panzanella salad. Again, it's a great idea to do with like any stale bread that you may have or bread about to go bad. It's also something that can just kind of elevate the texture of a dish. And it just adds a nice like special crunch and substance to something like a tomato salad, which we love and we eat all the time in the summer because they're just so fresh and delicious. But it has that extra crunch. You always want to think about in a dish like a dish that is delicious usually has a couple of different elements, one being some sort of acid, which we're going to use for lemon, something sweet, so that's the tomatoes, something herbally, so that's our basil, something creamy with the cheese, and then something crunchy. So anytime I'm thinking about summer salads, oh, someone's asking the time on that. Time on that is for 10 to 15 minutes, which is actually a perfect time to when our egg muffins are going to be done. So here we go. We're going to start with this tomato salad. Start slicing until the zucchini is ready in there. Yeah, and I love using heirloom tomatoes for this recipe. If you have access to them, if they're available, they are the most beautiful. They have like this intricate pattern you can see, and they come in all different colors. So I like to get a variety of colors and a variety of like shapes and sizes too. But then as you're cutting them, you just want them big enough pieces to like eat. We don't want to have an extra like knife needed to eat this. If you have extra seeds over here, I like to kind of just pop any extras that are kind of naturally come out, have them come out, especially if you are making this ahead of time. Like here, it's a good example. So this is just like a really gooey seed piece. If you're making it ahead of time, taking out the seeds will help keep it fresher, longer, and less gooey. So if it's sitting in a lot of liquid that's not lemon juice, that's where you get like a soggy dish, whether that's like a deli salad or something like this, like a tomato salad where you're making it, like a couple hours ahead of time to have everything ready and assembled so that you can actually enjoy yourself too. Hopefully on a back patio, maybe a little rosé, maybe a little sparkling water, a little mocktail, cocktail, whatever you love. And that's really something too, as you're thinking about cooking. Like a lot of times we hear about it that it's like this chore. And I just want to offer you a different perspective today, that the time that you do spend cooking, it doesn't have to be a lot of time, but the time that you do spend, like it is such a nice way to use a different side of your brain and kind of disconnect from all of the chaos and the stress that has maybe been a part of the day or earlier parts of the day. Like I feel like I use cooking as my time to just kind of like relax and be transported a little bit to another world where it's very much like tactile and sensory. So you're like smelling and tasting and noticing different textures, the different colors and flavors. Like it really helps, at least for me, like slow me down. Even when things are busy, even when like most nights when I'm cooking dinner, I have like 2 kids around me that have like so much energy and they're hungry and like, but just trying to like incorporate it as truly an act of self-care. And when I think about it in that way, I always have so much less resistance to doing it and having different things that I have to remind myself, which maybe this is helpful for you too, of like, it does not have to be perfect, right? This doesn't need to be like a perfectly diced tomato in order for it to do the purpose of serving your body and helping you slow down. Because if you don't have time to make like a simple real food meal, then like I think, maybe unpopular opinion, but like I think it's maybe time to look at some of your priorities. If you don't have time to feed yourself well, you are probably not having time to do much that is actually helping boost you and nourish you and caretake yourself from the inside out. And so that can only happen for so long before we get burnout. Someone's asking about my cutting technique here. burnout and tomato technique. This is what you get with me. Yes, I like to do slicing. It actually depends a little bit on the tomato. If it's too soft on the bottom there, I may start this way, but I usually start this way so you get that really pretty slicing pattern. And then at the top, I switch it around. So we're just getting some different pieces, different colors. I have this green one and the red one. So yeah, I think it's kind of like that phrase, like if you don't have time to do a few simple basic things that you know will help you operate better, feel better, be more patient, be more peaceful, be more intentional in your life, then it might be a good time to like look at like, well, what am I spending time on? What is taking up a lot of that time? Is it saying yes to things that maybe because I feel bad about saying no? Or is it because I used to do this all the time. I was talking about this last week in our group program, but like I used to have this thing of like having to do it all myself instead of getting help. And honestly, getting help can be like ordering your groceries and it's $3 extra for delivery, but it saved you an hour and a half of time. And like, what could you do with that hour and a half of time? And so starting to think of like your time and your energy as kind of, they're commodities that go away. You know, we don't get it back. When our energy is bad, it's very hard to do everything else. It's just, we get more like anxious, we get more snappy. There's just so much connected to our energy and our mood. Like how you feel every single day matters. And there's nothing that matters more to your energy than what you eat. Because we do it multiple times a day, every single day, it's the highest bang for your buck, I think. Okay. Here we go. So our zucchini is done. I'm just gonna let them cool over here. So truly, it is all connected. I know you guys are used to it. Questions? Okay, so yeah, someone said like any good places to get heirloom tomatoes. Yes, farmers markets are awesome if you have any that are connected or close to you. If you have a neighbor that grows them, a lot of times I feel like there's tomato people out there. I'm a tomato person. They just are so good on everything. Heirloom tomatoes are so special if you can find them. Oftentimes though, Trader Joe's carries them. They do. And they're much more in season and fresh in the summer. They taste amazing. They're like so good on sandwiches. They're just pretty too. So we're just doing different colors, different shapes, different sizes here. Oh yeah, I'm just trying to look at some of the chat comments too. Yeah, it is truly incredible how connected it is. And so like while we live in such a world of like just quick fixes all the time of like, what's the fastest, quickest thing? What's gonna, we're looking for these like extremes. When I feel like the biggest changes do happen when they're done small and daily and consistent. So even and they're not as like sexy all the time, right? It's like doing things like making a real food meal is not necessarily what most people are like, oh yeah, like I'm so excited, I'm going to do this every day, like I'm super motivated. It's like kind of like the slow but the long game of knowing how to cook real food but doing it in a way that's not overwhelming. I think that's what can change your life. Things like drinking water every single day, enough water, having getting outside and like moving your body. It's like it comes down to these things that are tiny habits and tiny behaviors done with joy and made super simple so that when you are busy, that's not an excuse for them not to happen. So even with cooking, right? Especially with cooking, I think this is the case. And it feels like not a lot of people always talk about that part, about how connected it is. Yeah, a lot of you are saying, yeah, that's so true. Such a good reminder. Yeah, it's like oftentimes we just put it to the back burner like, oh, it doesn't matter. I don't have time for that. Maybe I'll get back to it next week. Or we're trying to do it in extremes where it's like all about, so this is the mozzarella. I'm talking too much. This is the mozzarella this is a giant lemon. So it's gonna be half of one lemon, or like a regular size lemon would be a whole lemon, just squeezing it over the top. This is what's gonna help keep it fresh and give it that citrus. But yeah, it's like whether we're cooking, oftentimes it's done in these big extremes where we're like either prepping and have meal planning and have all of our containers and it's done for the week and it's batch cooking and it requires a lot of effort and time and energy to do and to keep up with every week. And that can be just not realistic for every single week. So again, I'm just about slower, steadier, smaller things done more consistently over time and keeping it easy as possible on yourself really makes a huge difference. Like huge. I would say, I mean, for everything it's connected to. Yeah. You guys are saying, yeah. Some of you are like, oh, I never thought about it like that. Yeah. It's crazy. And it doesn't have to be hard or crazy or expensive or super time consuming, especially if you're not trying to talk while you're doing this. Okay. So we have our tomatoes there. I used about 5 different heirloom tomatoes. We're bringing our star ingredient of basil. The other star ingredient was our tomatoes. Some of you may remember. If you cannot do the mozzarella, other star ingredient, mozzarella, by the way, is like one of the cheeses that is digested the most easily, even for people who don't tend to tolerate a lot of different dairy products. It has the least amount of lactose in it. So just kind of fun fact, good to know. I don't do great with tons of cheese or a lot of it, but I love it like this to like enhance something else that's so good. There's our timer for the egg muffins. Let's check. Okay, they're looking like a little bit runny on the top. I'm stirring around our bread. These are all done. Zucchini is done. And I'm going to leave the eggs in there for another 2 minutes just because they look a little bit like runny on top. Set our timer because I will forget. Okay. So we have to do our salt and pepper on this. Okay. Here we go. And this is going to be really pretty and delicious here. So another way, I'm just putting it like right on the serving tray or platter. But you can also do this in a mixing bowl and wait for the basil until the very end. I like to do it in the middle and then toss it a little bit and then put some more on at the end. So I'm actually going to have this for later. So I'm going to save some of these so they stay crunchy on top. And we'll get our spoon. Yeah. So we'll just kind of gently go in here, toss like this. And I think this is, if you can make this ahead of time, you can see here, it's so good. Oh my gosh, it's so good. If you can make it ahead of time, it does taste really nice when you let the lemon sort of just like sit and simmer. It just brings out the flavors of the tomatoes, as does the salt when they're able to sit there together. So just FYI. So we have our basil, tomatoes, our bread salad. I also have, oh, I forgot the cucumber. You can also do cucumber in there, really like whatever produce you have. I was also saying too, if you can't do mozzarella, this is great with like white beans or garbanzo beans instead. Oh yeah, I'm seeing that. Yeah, anything swaps on the cheese. Yeah, you can either leave it off. You can also use olives instead of the cheese or artichoke hearts instead of the cheese. So I note all of that in the recipes that you guys are going to get after this is over. Okay, any quick questions on that? We're going to bring back the stuffed zucchini right here. And I think I need to swap. Okay, there's our eggs. Swap my cutting board, just so you can see what we're about to do. Right there. So next we're just going to make a quick filling. You guys all with me? Yeah. We're going to make a quick filling for the stuffed zucchini. And I'm just using these leftover meatballs in here. So this is a great way to repurpose leftovers and kind of make it feel like you're like having an entirely different meal, when the reality is you're eating the same thing. It just looks a little bit different. So that's a little hack for you too, especially if you're cooking for family or other people that are like, not this again, or leftovers. this can be a great way to do it. So again, you can use like chicken sausage, you can use ground turkey, you could do ground beef in this, you could do white beans or garbanzo beans as well. Lentils would be a great sort of like protein base in that. We're going to add some of our star ingredient here of basil. It's going to be about 1/4 cup. The nice thing about these recipes, and I think about summer cooking in general, is that, someone say get the eggs, yeah. Get the egg muffins. They're done. So here you are. Here you can see. So we're just going to let those cool for a little bit over here. Okay, done and done. We're going to chop up our basil. I'm going to add in some tomatoes because if you did not use tomato sauce, like let's say for these meatballs, already has tomato sauce on it. We're going to do chopped tomatoes. You can use heirlooms. I tend to use like Roma tomatoes, especially when you're cooking something. The heirloom tomatoes are great for when you're having it raw or fresh. If not, and you're just going to cook it, they kind of taste the same. And Roma tomatoes or beefsteak tomatoes are just tend to be a little bit less expensive and more widely available. So if you're cooking them, doesn't matter. So we're doing, yes, 1 Roma tomato, because again, I'm doing a half version of this recipe for right now, just so you guys can see all the components and how easy this is, and that you probably have a lot of these things on hand already. I feel like these are 3 ingredients too that I tend to order and have on hand just all the time. Okay, so we're going to do some garlic powder in here. It's about 1/4 teaspoon. I cook a lot, so I know the measurements by heart. We're doing some Italian seasoning in here and the garlic powder as well. And we're going to get some of that mozzarella cheese. So like the normal recipe says half of a ball of mozzarella. And I just mean like these bigger ones. So I'm going to do about 1/4. I'm going to chop that up. And then I'm going to put a little bit more of that on top as well. Mix that in there. Okay, what else? Garlic powder, sea salt, pepper, tomatoes, basil. We have our zucchini. It's optional if you would like to do Parmesan. And then I'm going to put in a little bit of our green onion as well. So with green onion, you want to chop the white parts. You kind of leave this pale green part. Chop these stems off and then do most of the dark green. It's more mild. It's really great in a recipe like this where you don't want to have like a huge bite of onion necessarily. So this is the part that you probably discard. Yeah, why? Someone's saying, can you use it? Yeah, you can totally use it. I use it all the time, but it's a little more like chewy, I would say. So if that doesn't really matter to you, then that's great. You guys, I need water. We're cooking these fast. Yeah, so yeah, someone was asking swaps if you don't eat meat. If you don't have the cheese, you can just leave the cheese out. If you don't eat meat, you can do this again. White beans, lentils. You can also do a different take on this where, like I was saying, if you have leftovers of something else that's already kind of seasoned, doing these like stuffed zucchini is just a great vehicle, again, to get more vegetables in. The more vegetables you eat, the better your blood sugar is, the more fiber you're getting, the more like actual nutrients you're getting in your life, the better that you're going to feel. And so my style of cooking is truly that. I'm like, how many vegetables can we get in this small amount of time, or this thing that takes not a lot of time to prep? So we have our zucchini, flipping them over, and I put them face down. I don't think I said this before, because when you do that face down, it actually cooks them faster. So you can see they're almost like a little bit caramelized and roasted because it traps the steam in that little cave, this little canopy. Okay, here we go. So we just have our mixture right here, and you're just going to take it and stuff in. I should probably be using a spoon, would make it easier. And I just like to like kind of pack it down so that actually will stay in, especially when you're cutting it into pieces to serve. So yes, and so yeah, you can do this with summer squash. Summer squash tend to be a little bit irregular in size. So they're like thicker on the bottom than they are on the top. So just keep that in mind. You may have to like cut them because they may just cook or roast at a different time, but you can absolutely use them. That's another big time summer food. Here we go. Okay, what do you guys think of this? Yes, loving it. Okay, doable, right? These are so doable. Like all of these individually, if you were just doing one, it would take you probably less than 10 minutes, especially if you have like the filling for this or some sort of filling already cooked, or cooking sausage while you're also cooking these in the oven. I'm just gonna make sure these are kind of distributed. And then I'm gonna put it in the oven just on broil because everything is already cooked. It's more about getting the cheese to be like crumbly and melted on top. And I'm actually gonna do that in a minute because I feel like I will probably forget or burn, or we'll have the fire alarm going off, something like that. Okay, I just want to get in some of these questions so we can see. Okay, yes. Oh, good. Yeah, good. You guys are excited. I'm so glad. So these recipes, yes, we are going to send them to you. I think they're very flexible. They're easy to modify. Usually ingredients, again, you already have on hand. Just kind of going back to this point, like it does not have to be so hard. And especially when you can get things a little bit more coordinated and a little bit more efficient, I think that's usually one of the missing pieces is like we can find, there's baby June. We can usually find, there's a lot of just like we can find recipes, but sometimes it takes a lot of time to find recipes, let alone maybe using stuff that you already have, let alone using stuff that's in season, or things that kind of go together well. If you are going to make something and you already have the things out, sometimes it just makes sense to make a few things and then you can kind of be done for the next couple days. So that's my hope in showing this to you, is like just continuing to have these classes to show you that it really doesn't have to be so hard, and it can be done if you have like just a little bit of organization and a little bit of time to think ahead or plan or pull things together that can be coordinated. Especially this time of year, I think can just help so much. So for those of you who are new here and haven't been around and want to know how to do this more, like I showed you how, this is how we do it. But the behind the scenes part of this is that I use something, which is the Simply Real Health Cooking Club, to help pull these recipes and make them so easy to do and pull and find stuff, because so much of the hassle and the problem and the resistance we get with cooking is like, the amount of time it takes to find recipes that are actually healthy, that are going to deeply nourish you and ground you and fill your cells and give you that sense of energy and peace at the same time. So we want all of that, but we want it to be easy. And it's very hard to find those recipes, which is why I have written cookbooks and why I have created this cooking club, because I want there to be a central place you can always go to, that you don't have to think so hard. You don't have to spend all of your time searching. So I wanted to show you something today in case you have never seen it, because not only is it a place to find recipes like this that are super healthy and easy, but it's also the best place to go if you need a little bit of help on the how part. So meaning, if you have ever thought to yourself, okay, not only thinking of different recipes. So here we are. Can you guys all see this? So this is just inside the cooking club. I want to give you a little tour, because it's not only thousands of recipes that are real food-based and easy and seasonal. It is also laid out in a way that you can search by anything you have. You can log in and say you're not sure quite what to make for that day or that week ahead. We always have this weekly 3 on top, which are 3 recipes that we change every single week to give you some ideas, some guidance if you don't want to think too hard. Here's what I'm making in my kitchen. You can see tomato panzanella bread salad right there. Usually some type of breakfast or baked good, some dinner and a quick, easy lunch ideas. We have everything, all kinds of recipes organized for you in a searchable way, which I think is really important. So we have lunch ideas, different soups, salad, dinner ideas, make ahead meals, and all of these, when you click see all, you can see there's hundreds in every different category. So we have, it's like a living, breathing cookbook that I wanted to bring to life, but that's not the only thing. So let's say we come into here and we want to come and we want to do, we want to see like all the recipes, right? So this is every single recipe and it just keeps going and going. But helpful is to search by courses or what you're looking for. Are you looking for baked good? Are you looking for breakfast ideas? Are you looking for freezer to grill packs? Are you looking for things in the Instant Pot or stuff for kids or mocktails or things that are vegan or vegetarian? We have all these different courses. We have keywords, which means that you can search by ingredient, which is amazing, which means you could just pull open your fridge and be like, what do I have here? Okay, we have zucchini, I have basil, like, and search by, let's say you have, let's just pick some randomly. Let's say you have, oh gosh, you open up your fridge. What do we see? Bell pepper. We have bell pepper. And then, oh, we also see bell pepper. And we want to do bell pepper and something else. What other common ingredient can we find in here? Bell pepper and I don't know. We'll just pick, we want it to be vegan, right? And so it will generate the recipes that like, here we go. Maybe that was a bad example, but let's say you have, oh, that's because it's in the category of vegan. So yeah, we'll just want to do this one. So let's say you want to look and search by season. So let's look at summer here. There's 53 different recipes. So when you find a recipe you like, you can come in here. This is the best part. So it's not only just recipes, it is like a meal planning tool and a shopping list tool that coordinates and pulls it all together for you. So you could say, I want to add this to my recipes. You could print it. You can also change the serving sizes here. So see how this says 4 serving sizes? You could go up and look, it's going to change the amounts here. So when you're adding it to, you're cooking for different people, let's say, and we go back to our recipes let's go back to the home page so we can see the recipes we did today. We'll click on tomato panzanella bread salad. Say we want to add that to our recipe, so it's already in there. You're going to see all the instructions. Again, you can change the serving sizes however you need to. You can also sort by allergy or food sensitivity. And so you get this customized experience of exactly what you need. Then you come into your recipe favorites over here, and this is what we made today, right? So if you're having people come over and you want to make the bread salad and you want to make it for 8 people, you can change the serving sizes here. If you wanted to make it for the full, like 12, if you want to make more stuffed zucchini than 2 or 3, then you can come over here. You can go to print recipes. It will print all of them together. So that's what we're going to send. You can also say, I want to create a shopping list, and it will literally take all 3 of these, generate a full shopping list for you of exactly what you need of all these different recipes. So the intention and purpose behind this is that, and oh, I forgot to say this. Someone else is asking this. Like, yes, we add to this every single month. So the advantage of this is that you are also getting all of the brand new recipes that I create. So I have no plans to write another cookbook. And so this is where all the Real Food Easy recipes are going. And living, and it's easy to sort. I just want this to be something that you can log into on your phone, you can log into on your computer, wherever you're at. If you just need a quick idea for dinner that night, and you want to search by anything that you have, this is meant to simplify and streamline it for you and make it a completely custom experience. And so that you're wasting less food, you're wasting less time, and you have everything that you need to stay inspired constantly. To just have these endless amounts of ideas, to search by season, to search by things like gluten-free and dairy-free, or just more vegetables in your life, or things that you have around, to really make this process of cooking something that can be easy and that can be something that's doable and approachable and something you can go to in your daily life without a lot of hassle and stress. So I just think about this like a secret tool in your back pocket that you can have instead of spending hours and hours searching and trying to use Pinterest and trying to save them, and they're saved in a bunch of different places. And then when you go to the store, you're not exactly sure of what you need, and you're like always constantly task switching, and it can take so much time and energy, and it just doesn't need to. And that's my hope with this creation of creating a community around this process of people who want to eat real food and keep it simple and keep it healthy and keep it customized and more so the types of foods that you need, because we are all a little bit different. We all do better with real food in general. Okay, yeah, you guys are so excited. Oh, yeah, we have a lot of like alumni people in the cooking club that they love it. It's changed their life. I love hearing that. It's amazing. It was a beast to create. If you can only imagine entering every single ingredient so that it can auto-generate and pull things together and coordinate it all for you, but it's so worth it. It's so worth it. I use this every single week. It's nice when I'm traveling or at the store. I can just like click in my password and I can pull up any recipe, any of the Simply Real Health recipes in the cookbooks as well. We have a full section on baby guides. Toddler foods keep getting added in there too. Desserts, cocktails, mocktails, like any type of recipe that you need can be quickly accessed at your fingertips. A shopping list generated, meal planning tools if you want to use them, but you don't have to. So it's very flexible, doable. Someone asking the price. Yes, that's actually the best part, I think, is this is super affordable. And I want to do that on purpose because I want as many people as possible to have access to this information and to this way of cooking and to this way of using the things you have, using the things that are in season, and just making it less complicated overall. So usually I have done meal plans in the past where it's 4 weeks of breakfast, lunch, and dinner kind of planned out for you, selected for you. So you can't necessarily choose or say that you don't like something. It's 4 weeks for $99. So if you were to do that every season, that is over $400, right? And so this membership, this is a real food and recipe membership. If you join for the year, it's only $100. So $97 just for the next 2 weeks. That's it. Then the prices go back up. We only open this twice a year. So once in the dead of winter and once right now. So if you're wanting to get in and try it, this is the best time. If you do want to come, just try it out for a year and see. It's meant to be something where you're like spending out maybe $2 a week so that you always have this quick, easy access to go. You always have new ideas. You don't have to think so hard. You can sort and organize however you need to and use other stuff too as you can. But this is a great one-stop shop. If you want to just try it out, we also have an option for that, to just try it monthly for $9.99 and try it and see. You don't need to stay in. There's no like joining fees. You can just try it for a month and see. If you don't like it, you can just send us an email and cancel, and it's no problem at all. I just want you to be able to try and test, see if this is something that could work. Because again, at around like $2 a week, like I can think of, it's going to save at least like 3 to 4 hours of your time searching, coordinating, trying to like think of different ingredients, think of things that are quick and easy, think of things that work for your life. It takes a lot of time and energy and meal prep, and not to mention going to the store and getting all the ingredients and the time it takes to cook or prep. So this is something I hope will be such a helpful tool to give you so much time back so that you can get your energy back, so that you can go out and enjoy your summer and be on the deck and the patio and having iced tea and doing adventures and being with your family and people that you love without having to stress about this food piece, which is huge, right? We have to pay somewhat attention to it, be somewhat intentional about it. So this is my hope, is that this is a really easy way to do this and try and test and see if it works for you, because to me, it has been such a game changer and such a helpful thing to have quick access at my fingertips to all of these ideas whenever I need them. Yeah. Yeah, we have a lot of people that are already in it, and it's so fun. It's so fun to create. If you join us for the yearly option, I've been doing live cooking classes for our yearly members through the end of the year. So you always get your weekly 3, and then you also get, 2 or 3 extra live recipes demoed, kind of like today, so that you can get ideas and see exactly and ask any questions that you have too. Yeah, so this is only open for the next 2 weeks at this price. After that, it goes back up, and we close the doors. So if you'd like to try it, I would really encourage you to test it out. And if it's just try it and see. It really can't hurt. And I think it's going to help you so much just to elevate your life in every area. So I hope you guys like this, and let me know if you do cook these recipes. I want to see them. Tag me on Instagram if you have questions that we didn't get to. You can always send me a message at Simply Real Health on Instagram, and I am happy to answer anything. And I hope that this was just so helpful. I just want you all to feel like cooking is doable, and doing it in a real way that's simple and easy can change your life. I love you guys so much. I hope this was helpful. Talk to you soon.